Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Introduce myself. My name is Dila Mardiana. NIM 2106021100083. I'm from class biology C, and in here I want to answer question early course on the history, civilization, Islamic. Number 1. Explain how the main foundation that the Prophet laid down in building Islamic civilization. Explain in detail each point and how is it relevant to our life today. The answer: first, build a mosque and make the mosque the center of all activities. When Rasulullah arrived in Medina, Rasulullah built a mosque, the Nabawi Mosque. Rasulullah functioned this mosque for all activities, starting from teaching Islamic teachings, the process of teaching and writing, to strategizing war or politics. In short, Rasulullah used the mosque as a place for meeting and fostering the people. Second, build brotherhood among fellow Muslims or Ukhwah Islamiyah. In the Madinah, there were two groups of Muslims, namely the Muhajirin, Makkah Muslims who emigrated to Madinah, and the Ansar Muslim who were native of Madinah. Rasulullah fraternized them one by one, Muhajirin with Ansar. Rasulullah also always affirmed the fellow Muslim are brothers. This was done by Rasulullah to strengthen solidarity and social cohesiveness among fellow Muslims, so they are not easy to fight. Third, build brotherhood with people of other religions or ukhwah insaniyah. Rasulullah realized that Medina had a plural society. There is Muslims, Christians, Jews, and others. To build a strong and peaceful city, there is no way for Rasulullah except to unite those different communities. Finally, Rasulullah came up with a mutual agreement, the Charter of Medina or Constitution of Medina. This charter became a meeting point for the diverse people of Medina. With the Charter of Medina, Rasulullah success in uniting the people of Medina, which during that time could not have been united. Fourth, laying political, economic, and social principle. First, it changed the name of Yathrib to Medina with the intention of forming an orderly, developed, and civilized society. Second, build a mosque as a place of worship and means of uniting the people and discussing the problem faced or deliberation. Third, establish a mu'akat or brotherhood between Muhajirin and Ansar in the hope of binding the Muslims into one brotherhood and kinship. Fourth, from friendship with other parties who are not Muslims. Fifth, form an army of soldiers in anticipation of disturbance carried out by the enemy. Number 2. Explain what change the Prophet made in building the city of Medina. How is it relevant to our life today? The answer: there are several things that Rasulullah did during hijrah from Makkah to Madinah, including building the Nabawi Mosque, building brotherhood among fellow Muslims, and building brotherhood with people of other religions. of these three things, of course, it brought change to the city of Medina, namely changing the name of Yathrib to Medina with the intention of forming an orderly, developed, and civilized society, making the Nabawi Mosque not only a place of worship but also a center of activities ranging from teaching Islamic teachings, learn to teach and write, to developing war or political strategies. Then, by building brotherhood between fellow Muslims, it can make harmonious relation between fellow Muslims and strengthen the solidarity of social cohesiveness between fellow Muslims, and building fraternal relations with people of other religions can build a strong and peaceful city. Furthermore, if these changes are relevant to life at this time, it certainly has a very positive impact, including mosque in addition to being place of worship as well as center of activities of Muslim during the time when Rasulullah built Islamic civilization in Medina, can be used as a benchmark in today's life. That mosque, in addition to being place of worship, can also be used as a means to realize welfare and social order through relation studies, especially in a plural society such as Indonesian. Mosque can be used to provide shooting proselytizing in the parties of daily life. As we know that in Indonesia there are various kinds of Islamic community organization, each of which has different founder and teachings. However, each of these organization has the same goal, which is to have faith in Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Then when it is linked when Rasulullah built brotherhood between fellow Muslim, which aim to make relation between Muslim harmonious and strengthen the solidarity of social cohesiveness between fellow Muslim during the Islamic civilization period. It can teach us about establishing good relation with fellow Muslim communities in order to realize a peaceful life, as well as strengthen solidarity among Muslims. And the country of Indonesia is one of the plural countries, both from tribes, religions, race, culture, and others. From this difference, we as Indonesians must have the awareness to apply an attitude of tolerance between communities, even though there are many different in it, so that the relations of a unitary state and unity, which was also done by Rasulullah when building the city Medina during the Islamic civilization. Number 3. What is the Madinah Charter? Explain the most important content of the Madinah Charter, what was behind the emergence of the Madinah Charter, and how relevant the Madinah Charter is in the context of human life today. The answer: The Character of Madinah is a document containing a formal agreement between Rasulullah and all the important tribes in Yathrib or Medina, containing the guarantee of right of all citizens of Medina and the establishment of their obligation and the power possessed by Rasulullah Shallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in 622 Masehi. The main purpose was to stop the fierce conflict between the Bani Aus and the Bani Hazrat in Medina. Content of the Character of Madinah. The Character of Madinah contains all the foundation of the new state constitution will be Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. A total of 23 chapters talk about the relationship between Muslims, namely between the Ansar and the Muhajirins. The others 24 chapters talk about the relationship between Muslims and other people, including Jews. The Madinah Charter has two important points that are the core of the Madinah Charter, namely, number one, all adherents of Islam are one community or people even though they come from various tribes. Seen in chapter 1 to 10. Chapter 23 to 35 and chapter 39 to 42. Number 2, Islam's relationship with other communities is based on the principle of being good neighbor at Article 11. Helping each other in the face of enemies at Article 12. 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 36, 37, 38, and 43 to 47. Defending those who are persecuted at Article 13, 16, and 21. Advising each other at Article 37. And respecting religion freedom at Article 15, 16, 25, 35, and 40. The Character of Madinah also contains regulations based on Islamic law to form a state that places the inhabitants of various tribes, ranks, and religions living in the city of Medina at that time, including the Arabs of the Muhajirin of Makkah, the Arab of Medina, and the Jewish community. Background to the Character of Madinah. The birth of the Character of Madinah when Rasulullah SAW and the Ummah of Islam arrived in Yathrib. The inhabitants of the city of Medina were divided into three large groups, namely the Muslim, consisting of the Muhajirin and the Ansar. The Mushrikin, consisting of many small tribes and dominated by two large tribes, the Aus and Kharaj tribes, and the Jewish group, consisting of many tribes. At that time, the city of Medina was marked by wars between tribes. The war between the two great tribes of Medina, the Aus and the Khazraj, were influenced by the Jews. Smaller tribes also made things by splitting into supporters of the two land conflict tribes. Because of the prolonged conflict, the people of Yathrib then asked Rasulullah to create peace and tranquility. Thus, starting from the answers of the Yathrib people to get out of the tense atmosphere of endless conflict, it is increasingly complicated and threatening. This uncertainty is also the foundation for the birth of the spirit of peace in the character of Medina. The presence of Rasulullah in the people of Medina was that Rasulullah was made a leader, namely as a religious leader and also a community leader. The conception of Rasulullah, which was inspired by the Al-Quran, then result in the character of Medina, which aimed to rally a harmonious unity between Muslim and non-Muslim. The relevance of the Madinah character in the context of human life at the present time. The character of Madinah provides an important lesson from the policy of Rasulullah in making a rule to regulate the living system of Muslims in the Madinah at that time. This can be used as an example in the present when Muslims are side by side with followers of other religions, that a policy will be needed to so that social life continues to run in an orderly manner. The content of the Madinah character is still frequent today, either in making a script of regulation or when a figure makes a speech. Number 4. Tell us some evidence about the Islamic civilization prosperity and why did it collapse? Then, what are the factors that aid to the collapse of Islamic civilization? What should Muslims do at this time to that Islamic civilization can rise again? The answer: the heyday of Islam was an era in which at that time Islamic philosophers, engineers, and scientists produced various kinds of contributions to the development of technology and culture. Evidence of the heyday of Islam includes the following. Number 1, in the time of Khulafa'ur Rasyidin, Caliph Umar bin Khattab created the Hijri calendar as a form of overcoming administrative problems, which at that time there was no reference for dating. 2. During the Umayyad dynasty, the expansion of Islamic rule and the establishment of building as centers of Islamic proselytity, and in the construction of the Dome of the Rock building in Jerusalem as proof of the glory of Islam in the field of architecture. Number 3, during the Arabic dynasty. In the development of science, a research center was established, the translation of which was called Baitul Hikmah during the time of Caliph Harun ar-Rasyid. The emergence of mathematician named Al-Khwarizmi as the author of the Kitab Al-Jabar wal Muqabalah, and on astronomy, the emergence of Abu al-Mansur al-Falaki. Number 4, during the Fatimid dynasty, the establishment of Al-Azhar University, which was previously a mosque that functioned as a center for Islamic studies and science. Here are some reasons why a civilization can collapse. Namely, it has become the cycle of civilization in general, where after the construction of civilization took a challenge, until finally the establishment of important aspects in society, the progress of government, and the glory of civilization, and finally the civilization itself dies and collapses over time. Waiting a thriving civilization and in a phase of glory, one day there will be one government that is disliked by its people, and the authority of the ruler is not recognized by its people, so that civilization, which although it has grown and developed, can collapse with the presence of unwelcome rulers, and the existence of internal conflict within civilization itself, such as fighting over who is the successor of the ruler, until finally a civilization will be at the strength of collapse if the ruler is not liked by his people, or there is hatred by the majority of the people for his leader. And the last, after the establishment of civilization, the ruler was unable to answer the social challenge within his rule, so that the civilization that was built eventually became dead and petrified. The factors that lead to the collapse of Islamic civilization including the following. Number 1, lack of a sense of responsibility of state leaders on the importance of safeguarding vast field down. Number 2, the problem of a heterogeneous population complicate unification within the state. Number 3, weak attitudes of state leaders. Then economic crisis experienced by the Islamic State, the decline in morale of leaders who have an effect on the sovereignty prosperity of the country, no development in the field of science and technology, conflict between Islamic and Christian kingdoms, a system of transfer of power that gave rise to disputes between Islamic groups. What Muslims must do at this time so that Islamic civilization can rise again, namely, improve your abilities in any field so that you become an expert in your respective field. Then maintain harmony and unity between Muslims. Become a people who are good at all affairs so as to be good leaders in every component. Maintain harmony with other people, build deep file and solid file, and maintain humility. And last, improving the human resource of a society. And the last, number 5, what lesson can you take from the history of Islamic civilization? What attitude should we take to overcome the difference of opinion in the history of Islamic civilization? The answer: can gain a lot of experience about the historical events of Islamic civilization in the past, both positive experience and negative experience that can be used as wisdom so that mistakes that have occurred in the past will not be repeated in the present or the future. Can know historical places and figures who were instrumental in the development of Islam in the past. Can know historical places and figures who were instrumental in the development of Islam in the past. Knowing the theories of the history of Islamic civilization that prevailed in the past so that in the future it can be used and applied in overcoming various life problems. And the last, can cultivate maturity in thinking, have a broader way of looking forward, and act more wisely. Addressing dissent with adab and moral foundation, such and following the middle manhaj, which reflect the attitude of tawazun or balance and justice. Stay away from exaggeration in the particular opinion, abandoning fanatism toward an individual, manhab or group, respect for such dissent, and always prejudice against a figure of opinion. Be respectful, mutual understanding between one opinion and another that must continuously develop in diversity. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.